A Hail Mary and a shocker Week 8 highlights. It was a week filled with unexpected twists and turns that kept fans on the edge of their seats. We saw stunning upsets, nail-biting finishes, and incredible individual performances. Before we start, please subscribe to this channel for more exciting content. The playoff picture is getting clearer, but some teams are fighting for their postseason lives. Every game, every play, every second counts as we move closer to the playoffs. Let's dive into the action. First up, the Washington Commanders pulled off a miracle in Chicago. Rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, playing through a rib injury, heaved a Hail Mary as time expired. It was a moment of sheer determination and grit. The ball found the waiting hands of Noah Brown in the end zone, sending the Commanders home with an improbable victory. The crowd erupted in disbelief and joy. But that wasn't the only shocker of the week. The Cleveland Browns, written off by many, went into Baltimore and stunned the Ravens. Jameis Winston was masterful, throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. His precision and poise under pressure were remarkable. The Ravens' defense, expected to dominate, looked lost at times. They struggled to contain the Browns' relentless offense. This is the NFL, folks, where anything can happen. It's a league where the underdogs can rise and the favorites can fall. Stay tuned as we continue to bring you all the thrilling moments from this unforgettable season. The atmosphere at Soldier Field was electric. The night was filled with anticipation, as fans from both sides filled the stadium with their cheers and chants. The Bears, with their own rookie quarterback Caleb Williams under center, were looking to bounce back from a tough loss. Williams, a promising talent, had shown flashes of brilliance throughout the season, but tonight, he faced a formidable challenge. The Commanders, meanwhile, were hoping to keep pace in the surprisingly tight NFC East. Every game was crucial, and the pressure was mounting. The game itself was a back-and-forth affair. Both teams traded blows, with neither willing to give an inch. The intensity on the field was matched only by the tension in the stands. Daniels, despite his injury, showed poise and toughness. His determination was evident as he fought through the pain, refusing to let his team down. His resilience became a source of inspiration for his teammates. He made plays with both his arm and his legs, keeping the Bears' defense off balance. His versatility was on full display. With time ticking down, the Commanders found themselves trailing by 6. The clock was their enemy, and every second mattered. A field goal wouldn't do. They needed a touchdown, and then it happened. The team huddled together, strategizing for what could be the final play of the game. Daniels, scrambling for his life, launched a prayer towards the end zone. The stadium held its breath as the ball soared through the air. It was a moment of sheer desperation and hope. The ball seemed to hang in the air forever. Time stood still as everyone watched its trajectory. The fate of the game rested on this single play. And then, out of the pack, came Noah Brown, clutching the ball as he fell to the turf. Touchdown! The Commanders' sideline erupted. The players and coaches celebrated wildly as they had just pulled off a miraculous victory. The Bears fans were stunned into silence. The jubilation on one side was met with disbelief on the other. It was a stark contrast of emotions. Nobody gave the Cleveland Browns a chance against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens were coming into the game with a stellar record and a reputation for being one of the most formidable teams in the league. The Ravens, with their high-powered offense and stifling defense, were heavy favorites. Their quarterback Lamar Jackson was having an MVP-caliber season, and their defense was ranked among the top in the NFL. But the Browns, led by the resurgent Jameis Winston, had other ideas. Winston, who had been written off by many, was determined to prove his doubters wrong. He picked apart the Ravens' secondary, connecting with his receivers for big play after big play. The chemistry between Winston and his wideouts was evident as they made spectacular catches and gained significant yardage. The Browns' running game, led by the bruising Nick Chubb, kept the Ravens' defense honest. Chubb's powerful runs and the offensive line's solid blocking opened up the field for the passing game. On the other side of the ball, the Browns' defense played inspired football. They were aggressive, disciplined, and relentless in their pursuit of the ball. They pressured Lamar Jackson all game long, forcing him into hurried throws and costly mistakes. The defensive line consistently broke through the Ravens' offensive line, disrupting Jackson's rhythm. The Ravens' usually potent rushing attack was bottled up. The Browns' linebackers and defensive backs swarmed to the ball, shutting down any attempts to gain ground. In the end, the Browns walked away with a statement victory. It was a complete team effort. with contributions from both the offense and defense. The Ravens, meanwhile, were left to ponder what went wrong. They will need to regroup and address their shortcomings if they hope to bounce back in the coming weeks. The Detroit Lions and the Tennessee Titans engaged in an offensive shootout that had fans on the edge of their seats. The Lions, led by their explosive running back Jahmyr Gibbs, put up a season-high 52 points. Gibbs was unstoppable, ripping off long runs and leaving defenders grasping at air. But the Titans, despite the loss, showed their own offensive firepower. Derrick Henry, as always, was a force to be reckoned with. He pounded the Lions' defense, wearing them down with his relentless running style. In the end, though, it was the Lions' day. Their quarterback, Jared Goff, had one of his best games as a pro. He spread the ball around, connecting with his receivers for big gains. The Lions' offense was simply too much for the Titans to handle. Bills keep rolling, but questions linger. The Buffalo Bills went into Seattle and came away with a hard-fought victory over the Seahawks. Josh Allen, as usual, was the catalyst for the Bills' offense. He threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also threw his first interception of the season. The Bills' defense, while solid, gave up some big plays to the Seahawks, a masters of improvisation, made several highlight reel throws, keeping the Seahawks in the game until the very end. The Bills remain the team to beat in the AFC East, but this game showed that they are not invincible. Their defense will need to tighten up if they want to make a deep playoff run. Eagles soar, Bengals sputter, a tale of two halves. The Philadelphia Eagles, after a sluggish first half, came roaring back to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. Saquon Barkley was the star of the show for the Eagles. He rushed for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, carrying the Eagles' offense on his back. The Bengals, on the other hand, continued their disappointing season. Joe Burrow struggled to find his rhythm, throwing 2 interceptions. The Bengals' defense, once a strength of the team, looked lost at times. The Eagles, with the win, kept pace in the competitive NFC East. The Bengals, meanwhile, are in danger of falling out of playoff contention. Chiefs still perfect. Mahomes marches on. The Kansas City Chiefs continued their quest for an undefeated season with a convincing win over their rivals, the Las Vegas Raiders. Patrick Mahomes was his usual brilliant self, throwing for over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Travis Kelce, the Chiefs' star tight end, finally found the end zone for the first time this season. He hauled in 2 touchdown passes from Mahomes, much to the delight of the Chiefs' faithful. The Chiefs' defense, often overshadowed by their high-powered offense, played a pivotal role in the victory. They intercepted Derek Carr twice, stifling several Raiders' drives. With the win, the Chiefs moved to 8-0 on the season. They are the clear favorites to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Injuries and upsets, the playoff picture shifts. Week 8 was not without its share of injuries. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' star receivers, both left their game early with injuries. Jordan Love, the Green Bay Packers' backup quarterback, suffered a groin injury that could sideline him for several weeks. These injuries could have a major impact on the playoff race. The Buccaneers, already struggling, will be hard-pressed to replace the production of Evans and Godwin. The Packers, with Love's status uncertain, will need Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy if they want to make a deep playoff run. As the season wears on, the playoff picture is becoming clearer. But with so many teams still in contention and with injuries always a factor, the race for the Super Bowl is far from over.